Crypto is braced for a $15.5 trillion September Wall Street earthquake aftershock for Bitcoin, Ethereum, XRP, and crypto prices, according to an article in Forbes. We're going to talk about that today. Welcome back to the Blockhash Podcast channel. Let's talk crypto. Make sure to check out our sponsor, BENFT. They're revolutionizing education through DeFi methods and artificial intelligence. Also, check out our Patreon. We do chart analysis Monday through Friday for the price of 2 cups of coffee per month. All links in the description below. Also, you probably noticed we don't have the sign today. The office is kind of a disaster. I am moving to a new place. Yes, I live in Colombia, in Medellin. I live in the Palmas area. I'm now moving to Laureles. So I will be setting up a new office there, as well as a new podcast studio over the coming weeks. So bear with me as the changes take place. All right, so let's talk about what is noted in this article about the ETFs in September and what that could look like. So the Bitcoin price had rocketed in 2023, but has seen its rally stall as traders fret the Federal Reserve could be about to stage the greatest rug pull ever. Now, after the U.S. Securities and Exchange Commission delayed its decision on a closely watched spot Bitcoin exchange-traded ETF application by Cathie Wood's ARK Invest, the Bitcoin and crypto market is braced for a flurry of SEC spot Bitcoin ETF decisions, led by the world's largest asset manager, BlackRock. Quote unquote, the U.S. listed spot Bitcoin ETF could be meaningful as it would also be associated with a significant market push that could benefit the asset class, Marcus Thielsen, head of research at Matrixport, wrote in an emailed note. The SEC is slated to make an approve, deny, or delay decision on at least 5 spot Bitcoin ETFs in early September from asset managers that look after a combined $15.5 trillion. A decision on BlackRock's game-changing June spot Bitcoin ETF filing is due just a day later, alongside bids from Fidelity, Van Eck, WisdomTree, Invesco, and other crypto asset managers like Grayscale. Investors, quote-unquote, are eagerly awaiting the SEC's verdict on the Grayscale ETF and BlackRock applications in September. James Butterfill, CoinShares head of research, wrote in a wide-ranging blog post. Anticipations are that the decision on both applications might be postponed, potentially leading to investor disappointment. This week, Europe's inaugural spot Bitcoin ETF managed by London-based Jacobi Asset Management went live on Euronext Amsterdam after it won approval from the Guernsey Financial Services Commission in October of 2021. What else? I'm skipping the quotes. However, the Bitcoin, Ethereum, XRP, and broader crypto market pullback over the last month has been interpreted by some that an imminent U.S. spot Bitcoin ETF approval is looking increasingly unlikely. Well, there's actually a lot of managers that are calling for it to be more likely, but, who knows? I mean, ARK is just one, and I think there's some other things under the table that are going on, but I'll talk about that in a minute. Paywalls. How do we get beyond the paywall? Back. Go back, go forward. No, it got me again. All right, we'll leave it there. Anyways, so yeah, there's a bunch of ETFs, BlackRock being the highlight, due for decision in September. These could get delayed as far out as potentially January or even March of 2024. So here's the reality. What do I think? In my personal opinion, with all these ETFs on the table, the SEC can't just broadly say all of these ETFs are just going to be pushed. They can't do that. They have to look at every single application independently and analyze every single one. So what's likely to happen is they'll probably push most of those ETFs, if not all of them, all the way out till January. Why? Because the SEC wants more time. They don't want to accept it. They don't want to give it credence. They don't want to do it. They've never wanted to do it. But it's at a breaking point where now you have asset managers with incredible influence doing this, like BlackRock, like Fidelity, WisdomTree, Invesco, especially BlackRock. And this is where it gets interesting because they're not going to deny a BlackRock ETF. They're not going to deny probably any of these ETFs. They're likely to postpone most of them. But if there's one ETF that is likely to get greenlit in September, It is the BlackRock ETF. Because BlackRock is the biggest asset manager in the world, they have their finger in every major Fortune 500 company for the most part. They're always top 3 in terms of investment in most companies across America. They invest globally. Their influence runs deep into the U.S., the U.S. government, U.S. politicians, and its fellow agencies, assuming the SEC. I would be shocked to see BlackRock's ETF get postponed until the next year. What I think will happen, potentially, and this is my guess, is that here in September, the BlackRock Bitcoin ETF could get approved. But everything else could get delayed until January. But if BlackRock gets approved, it'll set groundwork for every other asset manager and company to retool and refile their ETFs to more closely match what BlackRock did. The reason why BlackRock is most likely to get accepted is because they've only had one ETF ever get denied. Every single ETF they put forth goes through. So the likelihood that they get it is incredibly high. And even though sentiment in July was incredibly high and sentiment in August is incredibly low, means dog shit. What matters is sentiment in September, when it's actually going to happen. What matters is sentiment the week of, the day of that decision. And I'm inclined to believe that BlackRock is going to get it. I really do. I think BlackRock will get accepted. Nothing else will. Everything else will get postponed. And then as we get close to January, that's when you will see more ETFs get approved. Because at that point, they won't be able to. What are you going to do? Tell BlackRock that they're incompetent, they don't know what they're doing? Exactly. Gary's in a bind. The SEC, has to, if they're going to delay the BlackRock ETF, they're going to have to be very specific as to why. It'll be shocking, I think, for a lot of people. That's my opinion. Do with that which you may. I do think September is going to be a great month for crypto. I think August is the pullback. Summer is always kind of wishy-washy. But September and the rest of this fall is going to be very fascinating. My eyeballs are still set for November. If you watch any of the chart analysis I do, November is the month for altcoins, in my personal opinion. November and December-ish, every 3 years. Bitcoin, its real rise will start in mid-2024. All right? Do with that what you may. Please let me know what you think. Comment your thoughts down below on what you predict is going to happen with the ETFs. If you think they'll get approved, delayed, denied. What do you think of BlackRock's ETF? Grayscale trying to convert to an ETF. A decision on that could happen at any point in time. So very fascinating moment that we live in history, financial history. Comment your thoughts down below. Like the video. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. If you have, thank you so much. You guys are the best, and I'll talk to you tomorrow. Cheers.